Welcome back to Recap Central. Today I'm going to explain a fantasy film called The Man Without Gravity. Spoilers ahead. Subscribe for more videos like this. Natalia and her mother Alina are driving to the hospital. Natalia's water just broke. She is in pain and begs her mom to drive quickly. They arrive at the hospital but no doctors are available, so a nurse decides to help them herself. Natalia gives birth but the baby doesn't cry. Instead he floats like he isn't affected by gravity. The three are shocked. Natalia gently pulls him by the umbilical cord. Natalia and her mom quickly run away without providing their information to the nurse. Natalia is over the moon to give birth to such a special baby. She believes he is an angel. Natalia assumes that if the baby eats he will stop flying. Alina asks who is the baby's father, but Natalia doesn't know as she was a prostitute. Alina states she won't allow the baby to leave the house. She wants to protect him from the cruel world outside. The next morning Alina wakes up and finds the baby sleeping on the ceiling. She brings him down carefully. They name him Oscar. 4 of Alina's friends arrive to see the baby. Natalia ties the baby to the crib and covers him with a blanket. The women don't suspect a thing. One of them tries to pick up Oscar but Alina doesn't let her, stating the baby is fragile. The women leave and the two make the ceiling safe for the baby to sleep freely. Alina tells people Oscar is allergic to the sun so he can't go outside. A few years later Oscar has grown now but he is still not allowed to go outside by Alina. He likes looking at people through the window and watching Batman cartoons. Alina has been teaching him to read and write at home. Natalia makes Oscar a jacket with whites in the pockets so he can walk on the ground. Natalia is really happy because she can send Oscar to school now. However, Alina is worried about Oscar leaving the house. Natalia insists but Alina doesn't budge. One day Oscar is alone at home and he opens a window trying to go outside. When Alina and Natalia come back they find the open window. They are worried Oscar run away, but it turns out his jacket fell and he got stuck in the ceiling. Scared by what happened, Alina shuts the windows permanently. But Natalia has had enough. She wants her boy can go outside and see the real world. She fights with Alina. That night Natalia takes the boy outside. She tells him to keep his power a secret, so he can be safe from bad people. He struggles to walk as he hasn't walked that much in his life. From that day Natalia starts taking him outside with his jacket. They walk holding hands and Natalia teaches him how to walk better. One day Natalia leaves Oscar outside a store while she buys. While waiting Oscar bumps into a little girl named Agatha. The girl is mad and wants Oscar to help her carry the groceries home. Oscar is unsure but he ends up agreeing. They walk towards her house and talk on the way. After a while Oscar gets tired from the weight on his pocket and throws them out. The bottles he carries keep him on the ground. When they arrive at Agatha's house she wants the bottles but Oscar refuses as he will fly away without them. They fight over the bottles and eventually they drop them. Oscar floats away but thankfully a roof stops him. The little girl believes he is a superhero and watches him in awe. She gives him her backpack so he can walk on the ground and she promises to not tell anyone. At home Natalia and Alina are worried to death. Just then Oscar arrives. He tells them about his new friend. Natalia asks if she knows about his powers. Oscar lies and tells her she doesn't know. From that day on Oscar and Agatha play together every day. One day Agatha's grandma brings her over. Natalia talks with her and realizes Agatha knows about Oscar's powers. So she doesn't allow them to play together anymore. Agatha keeps coming every day to the house but Natalia always makes up an excuse to send her away. One day Agatha comes to the house with her grandma. Natalia tries to dismiss them saying Oscar has homework. But Agatha knows Oscar doesn't go to school. Her grandmother along with other women form the town call the police to Oscar house. They demand Oscar goes to school. Natalia and Alina agree. Natalia takes Oscar to his first day of school. But Natalia sees the kids are supposed to keep their backpack and coats outside. Saddened she brings him back to the car and they go home. They finally make the decision to move to a remote area so no one can see Oscar. A few years later Oscar is fully grown. Alina passed away. He lives with his mother in the mountains. They have a normal life. Oscar always has his backpack on. One day Oscar sees a talent show on TV. Auditions are on for everyone with a special talent. Oscar decides to participate and leaves town without telling his mom. At the talent show, Oscar shows his flying ability. Everyone is impressed. Some believe he is an angel. A talent scout named David speaks with Oscar and tells him he can be a celebrity. David says he will call talent show for him to showcase his powers. Oscar's biggest dream is to have a book written about his life. David promises to make it happen. Without hesitation, Oscar signs a contract with David. David gives him the name The Man Without Gravity as his stage name. After signing, David gives him a beautiful house as a gift. Oscar tells him his mom should stay with him, but David forbids it. The following day, Oscar starts appearing in TV shows and as a model in magazines. As he gets more successful, he loves the life in the city but gradually starts feeling bored and empty. He keeps gaining fans. David creates false stories about Oscar to make him more famous. He even makes a museum with random things as his belongings, and profits from it. Oscar protests about the media spreading false facts about him and is tired of living like this. He is tired of being a celebrity and asks David to terminate his contract. But just then David mentions a publicist wanting to write a book about Oscar's life. After hearing this, Oscar changes his mind as his dream of having a book is finally happening. He is more than delighted. However, when he meets the publisher and the writer, he learns they just want to profit as much as possible from the book. They want to exaggerate his story, making it seem as he was extremely poor in his childhood and adding false stories. After hearing this, Oscar refuses to work with them. The next day, David brings his mother as he knows Oscar misses her. She arrives while a party is going on at David's house. She brought motivational quotes David collected at home. Natalia is happy to see his son, but Oscar seems sad. The next day, Oscar makes a mistake while appearing in a TV show. David is furious at him. Oscar tells him he doesn't want to be the man without gravity anymore. He asks David to fake his death so he can live a peaceful life. The news spread quickly. Journalists come to Oscar's house every day to try and interview his mother. Days go by. Oscar now goes by the name Desky. He disguises and pretends to be handicapped so he can tie himself to the wheelchair. Desky now works as receptionist at a hotel famous for prostitutes. On Christmas Day, all the rooms are empty except for one. Desky goes to check the room. A beautiful prostitute is there. She tells him everything is all right. As he is leaving, the woman calls Desky by his real name, Oscar. Oscar is surprised. The woman turns out to be Agatha. She works as a prostitute now. They are really happy to meet again. They go on a date the next day and talk about many things from their past. That night in Oscar's room, they have sex. They love each other, but Agatha hesitates to accept Oscar's love because her profession. The situation leads to a huge fight and Oscar leaves. The following day, Oscar visits his old village and sees his hose. The place is now deserted. The museum has also been closed. He goes into the house and suddenly someone knocks at the door. It's Agatha, dressed like when she was younger. Oscar smiles seeing her clothes. Some years later, they have married and they live in their childhood house. Agatha is pregnant with Oscar's child. Oscar works as a window cleaner. Oscar cleans skyscrapers wearing a Batman suit. He is living his childhood dream now.